There's one thing that differentiates successful people from wannabes. It's their ability to execute fast and push the ball forward nonstop. And what most people get wrong is how exactly they manage to do so. What helps them to make so many decisions? What tools do they use to keep growing their business? Well, here's their secret. They're not always right, but when they're wrong, they do it the right way. They operate on a startup mentality. When we hire someone at Alux, the first question they usually ask is, how the hell do you guys manage so many things with so few people? Well, this is how we do it. Welcome to Alux. The first thing you need to understand is what keeps people from making the good calls, and that thing is called the analysis paralysis. Now, this happens when your fear of getting it wrong keeps you from making decisions. You don't know if your solution is the right one. You don't know if the person you hire is best suited for the business. You wonder if there are other investments way better than the one you're about to do, and in fact, you're almost certain there is. So you spend time researching, asking around, learning, reading, analyzing data, making reports, checking the numbers over and over again, and by the time you're done, the opportunity is also done. Your indecision is making the decision for you. You took too much time analyzing and too little time doing. And look, if you're the director of a bank and your decisions impact thousands of people and billions of dollars are at risk, then by all means take your time. But 99.9% of you are not in this situation. For you, the analysis paralysis is the main thing holding you back. Just think about how many diets you checked out versus how many diets you actually followed for more than one meal. How many workouts did you look into versus how many miles did you actually run? Or how many investment opportunities have you researched before putting a single dollar in? The reality is, when you're confronted with too many options, you tend to freeze up. There is actually a study where market researchers asked a group to sample 24 varieties of jam and pick one to buy if they liked it. Then they asked a second group to do the same thing, but only with 6 jars of jam to choose from. The second group was 10 times more likely to purchase a jam. Now, this is not about doing your homework. It's about a crippling fear of getting it wrong. You overanalyze the downsides while failing to see the upsides. And even though you keep hearing it's okay to make mistakes, you know that every time you make one, it comes back to bite you in the ass. So how can you eliminate the analysis paralysis? Well, imagine this. If a rock is about to fall on your head, it doesn't matter which direction you move as long as you don't stand still. And in life and business, it's raining rocks every day. Those who move don't get hit. Those who calculate the trajectory of the rocks based on their mass in relation to gravity with wind direction taken into consideration, they're not going to last very long. Now, are those constantly moving still going to get hit eventually? Yes. If you're not making mistakes, you're not trying hard enough. But this is an incredibly scary thing to do because people don't really like to be put under the spotlight. They don't want to be in charge of making calls, especially if they're being punished for making the wrong ones. Here at Alux, we don't always hire the right people. We don't always produce the best content. We don't always choose the right things to talk about, and we don't always give the right tasks to the right people. Which brings us to the second part. Removing analysis paralysis is the first step to get it wrong the right way. The second step is being right most of the time. We don't always produce the best content, but we get it right most of the time. We don't always choose the right things to talk about, but we get it right most of the time. We don't always give the right tasks to the right people, but we get it right most of the time. This is the reason why we keep growing as a business. This allowed us to have enough resources to build our courses the way we want and to release an app that we're really proud of. The trick is to get it right at least 70% of the time. If you're only getting it right 50% of the time, you're running in circles. If you make a good turn followed by a bad one and keep repeating the process, you're not going anywhere. If you're right only 60% of the time, you're going too slow. You work too much for too little progress. You only start seeing results when you're right at least 70% of the time. This is also the reason successful people are fine with being wrong sometimes. They know the good calls will eventually outweigh the bad ones. And this is also similar in concept to how good investors operate. They make 10 investments. They expect 7 to fail, 2 to do okay-ish, and 1 to be a massive success. In order to get to a point where you are right 70% of the time, you need a good decision matrix. Now, a decision matrix is a tool that helps you to select the best alternative. We're sure you've seen a lot of them before, you just maybe didn't know they were called a decision matrix. Now, let's look at our content creation process as an example. A lot of people ask us how we come up with content every day and who makes everything. Well, the process is fairly straightforward. We have 2 types of content, one that's being published during the week and one for the weekend. Now, for the weekly content, we come up with the titles based on 1. Our shared interests in education, lifestyle, and personal growth. Since we consume content around these topics, we're familiar with what's being talked about, to which we add our own input. And 2. YouTube's recommended algorithm. Now here's a little sneak peek behind the curtain for you. If YouTube doesn't recommend your content to other people, you will not grow. Around 70% of views come from YouTube's recommendation system. Just as an example, we posted a video last week that got shadow banned by YouTube, meaning it didn't get recommended to anyone, so the video barely got any views in the first 72 hours. Now, after we make the titles, different people are tasked with working on the video. In the end, the question is simple. Is there at least one valuable piece of information in this video or not? If yes, we'll publish the video. If not, we scrap it. We always follow the same system, and we get it right more than 70% of the time. Now, for the weekend content, things are a little bit different. We make pieces of content just like this video here, which doesn't really follow a specific formula. It's a blank canvas for things we want to talk about on that particular day, but we always make sure there's at least one valuable thing to take away from it. When we get it wrong, it's okay because we get it right most of the time. That's how we're being wrong the right way. And you can see it happening in real life in real time. Over the years, we've gotten countless messages from you guys saying how much our content has helped you to improve your lives. And this is the kind of system you need to incorporate in your life. You need the startup mentality. If you think about it, your life is pretty similar to a startup. You've got limited resources and a big dream. You can't hire someone to live your life for you. If you want to make that dream a reality, you need to embrace the fact that you are the CEO of your own life and adopt a startup mentality. Good startup entrepreneurs, they do 2 things very well. They're constantly moving and they're right 70% of the time. This is what we call being wrong the right way. Once you embrace your new title as CEO, you get busy. First, you remove the analysis paralysis like we mentioned at the beginning of the video. You do so by getting comfortable at making easy decisions on the spot and gradually grow to more important ones. People take like 30 minutes to figure out what food they're going to order. You eat on average 89,790 meals in your lifetime. It doesn't matter if you don't like one. Next, you work toward being right 70% of the time by developing a good decision matrix and sticking to it no matter what. Do this, and you're golden, my friend. We hope you learned something valuable here today, Aluxer, and of course, for those sticking with us until the end, we've got a bonus for you. The only time when being wrong is bad is when you can't reverse it. Just think about that for a second. If you're wrong but you can reverse your decision and keep playing the game, then it doesn't really matter that much, does it? You shouldn't have any fear over it. This is how successful people are doing it. They're wrong in the search of being right. We'll see you back here tomorrow, Aluxer, for the Sunday motivational video.